71 old men with white beards. No, I can't see any other way. A child with, as I picture Moshe Rabbeinu Sanhedrin. No. They had a special bracha. If they were Moshe Rabbeinu, if they were employed by Moshe Rabbeinu, they were good. So maybe a walking stick. So what? I don't understand. So the Rebbe has a moide dike pshat. The Rebbe says, and this is, as you know, that the Rebbe had a lot to say about seniors. The Rebbe didn't like the notion that seniors get pushed out of society. So today, there's a lot of times seniors are looking for a job and they feel like, like they're being discriminated against, because, they're really old and schwach. So, like they say the story with the Shakasarya couldn't hold a position for long. He was at Rov in Brisk, and he was at Rov everywhere, every Choshev Kehillah. But he couldn't. He was very straightforward guy, and he couldn't always get along with the Balabatim. Or mostly the Balabostas. They said Chaim Volozhin's mother, who was the wife of the Rosh HaKol, always butted heads with the Rov. Anyway, he came to Metz, the Choshev city in Germany. Then they said they looked at him like he was 81 years old. So at that time, talking about 200 years ago, man is 81. He's coming for a job interview at 81. Hello. So he looked at them. He understood what they said. He said, "I'll tell you one thing. You're going to for sure get out of me 18 good years." He lived to 99, which is a pella at that time for someone to live so long. And he was good to the last day. There's a picture actually, which is a pella how they got it. After he was nifted of him, I don't know how it's shaykh, but anyway, he looks like fresh. He looks like young. He looks sharp. He looks like you think of the Shagasai. Yes, exactly that. Anyway, so the Rebbe says, this is the pshat. The pshat is, there's a diuk bebeisa. What's the diuk bebeisa? And why is the diuk the Amri Imshi people say? We're not talking about, with a child knows that the Zaidi has a lot of value. Zaidi could give advice. Zaidi could tell stories. It's an unbelievable thing. Zaidi could be part of a Sanhedrin. But when it comes to work, there's studies that show that men, especially people that are working in manual labor, so they peak at a certain age and then they rapidly decline because that's the way it is. That's because men are they're chopping trees, they're schlepping wires, they're cutting cutting pipes. So and they're working the whole koiches, kibakol koichi avadati asavichen. So they go good 30, 40, 50, 60, and then there's like a steep decline. So, but women is not that way, because women, l'chatchila, they're not chopping trees, and they're not schlepping wires, and they're not cutting pipes. So it's a different thing. So therefore, a man, when it comes to Bebesa, what he could do in the house, so the Rashi says that he's a pacha. Rashi says pacha. Pacha doesn't mean pachyoichim. Why would it be pachyoichim? And that's a pella. The Rashi says pacha. You know what pacha means? The Rashi says in the Gemara, where it says apach nishbar. What happens with a keli in shas when it's broken? You use the other half. That's the way the Gemara always talks about it. And furthermore, pacha doesn't even have to mean a broken keli. Pacha means vayipach ba'apach. Pacha means someone who speaks. An old man, when his koyach haguf is weak, when he can't do too many chores in the house. He hardly knows how to scramble an egg. He doesn't know what to do in the house. So he's useless. And the house is useless. And bebeis medrash. But we're talking about Amri Imshi, but people say bebeisa. So bebeisa, he can talk, but he can't do much. And his wife is a chevraman. So when he's old, when he's in his 80s and 90s, the wife is a chevraman. She runs the show. And he could talk. Divrei chochma, divrei toida. In the base medrash, she's a gavra rabba. He can do something. But bebeisa, he's exactly. Bebeisa is a pacha. He can talk. He's a good talker. But he can't do much more than talking in his old age. But the woman, because the women are different, the way their bodies are built, and the type of jobs they do, is that Adarabah, they're more experienced in the avodas habayis, and maybe they're working a little slower, but they have a lot of experience and their knowledge, and they stand and they know. You know, my grandmother is up there, and she comes to our house. She has advice about how to do this, how to do that. Baruch Hashem, it's really sweet. Women are differently. So it's a sima, it's a treasure. A bubby is a treasure, and also it's a siman tov. Just like we see by Rivka Imenu, that she brought certain brachas to the house. A Jewish savta brings a certain bracha to the house, because just like we see by Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak, that even though they were big tzaddikim, but the bracha only came from the imos. The bracha that was in the house, the three brachas about the Ner Doluk and the Onan and the bracha Mitzuya B'Isa didn't happen in the schus of Avraham and Yitzchak. It happened in the schus of Sarah and Rivka. So we see that the bracha in the Jewish home has to do with the schus of the mother and the savta. So therefore, that's what Rashi's saying. So Mamela Mazel Tov to Tema Hershkowitz, who this week is 94 years old. Amen.
And I'm privileged to live in my building.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. Someone asked me this week, there's this legend that you don't invite people for a bris. Is it true that you don't invite a person for a bris, and why? That you're not supposed to invite someone to a bris. So the truth, it's true. It's true. The Gemara says in Psachim, Shiva menudim lashamayim, the 7 people that are nidui. The Elohein, Nisha ein lo isha. If he's not married, he should be looking for a shidduch. Sheyesh lo isha, vein lo bonim. He's not looking to have children. Sheyesh lo bonim. I mean, we're not talking about someone's trying to look for a wife. He's trying to have children. Okay. It's not up to him. A person could want to have children, but it's not up to the Rebbeinu Shalom. But today we have an attitude of people that are lazy. They don't want to have children. That's the Western society. Yeah. They're not interested in children. Only an abortion. Right. Only interested in abortion. Exactly. Want to get rid of children. That he has children, but he doesn't bother to be megadol them to learn Torah. Doesn't bother to get film. The tzitzis be big day, doesn't bother to get tzitzis, even though it's not an obligation. It's mezuzah bepischai, v'ameneim and olim eraglam. Those days, even today, you have to go in to walk around without shoes. Chazal felt that shoes are a very important thing, very, very important thing, because it's a danger. Oh, you never know where you step, and it can be very dangerous. And in those days, there were a lot of people that shoes were expensive. Who needs shoes? You can go without shoes. Chazal said, "Loylam yimkar odem afilu kodesh beisai." You should seal even the beams in your house in order to buy yourself a good pair of shoes. So Chazal said a person who doesn't wear shoes is a terrible thing. Funny thing. Huh? Okay. They didn't know infectious diseases. They didn't know these things.
No, but in America, famous line they say today, man is always in 2 places, or his bed or his boots. Spend money on both of them and take it far. Good boots, you can work. Stand straight, posture, good balance, and everything.
Okay.
Shoes. I'm not gonna get too far. Your back is gonna get moved.
So you see, Chazal were very big in this, that he should get himself shoes.
If he only had 1 feet in the house caves, he doesn't have a house. What does it mean? No, he didn't have a house.
He didn't have a house.
You should give up your house to have a pair of shoes.
Expensive shoes. Yeah. Continue. One more thing. A person that is a chabura shel mitzvah, and he doesn't sit down to have a meal with them. The Tosfos says, "Haina sudas mila." The Amri b'medrash, it says in the medrash, "And itzlal medina shel gehinim." A person that joins a bris, the sud of a bris is saved from the gehinim. The sudas nesuyim b'talmud chochem bas kohen. No, to sit down and have breakfast with them or lunch with them, the people that had the bris. So let's read to the end. Let's read to the end. But there's a condition: if he doesn't know who's sitting there, and maybe they're bad people, then he's exempt. He could walk out of the bris. It's funny because we had here once a boil. It's a a very choshev moil. Baruch Hashem, he's today considered one of the unbelievable moilim. And he walked out of the bris and didn't have the suda. So I asked him, how could you do such a thing? You have to be mason. As I'm moired to get Talmud Chochem, it's like mamashi. And he insists on not getting paid. It's like, I don't know how this guy lives, but it's a mamish, unbelievable person. So he said he would like to eat. He says, but he goes and he does a lot of brisses. And sometimes the caterer is a questionable hechsher, or maybe it's not even a caterer. So what is he going to say? This bris he does eat, this bris he doesn't eat. So he made a thing that that he never eats at any bris, that he doesn't eat anyway. You bring it to make a lot of problems. So it's interesting. Toysa sounds like the Toysa says that you have to eat part of the meal. It's an unbelievable thing. Look in the Shulchan Aruch Yeridea in Siman Reish Samachei in Sifyud Beis that Ramah says. Wow. If you're not eating in the Sudas Mila, it's a terrible thing. It's funny, like it sounds like it's a Gemara, like like an Agadata, but it ends up being a halacha in Shulchan Aruch. The Rambam brings in Shulchan Aruch. Pischei Tshuva says, "I am by Heitev Shel Maharit Salon." He was the Maritatz. He was the Choshev Poisek. It's a Talmud of the Beis Yosef, maybe. So Mashikosav Alachin, the B'Tshuvas Mocker Shmuel, Kosav B'Shem Sefer Sharvet Azov, the Toiv Lavatul Mashasham Shkoir Al Sudas Bris Mila, Kula Lo Yeilchum Metamem Mesavim, V'yu Chaz V'Shalom Achlal Nidui. That used to Shamish used to go around and say, "Here ye, everyone's invited to the bris. It's going to be on 1307 Avenue J, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." So he said to stop that minute, because if a person hears that he's invited to a bris, he's obligated to come. So Gemara never really said these words. The Marit said, based on this Gemara, and the Pischei Tshuva and many later poskim agreed that it makes sense to say that if a person is invited to the bris, that he's not allowed to refuse. But again, it's not exactly the words in the Gemara. That's why the minute today is not to invite someone for a bris. There's a poskim today that asks, so why is a wedding different? The Gemara said, Sudas Mitzvah. The Tosfos says Sudas Mitzvah is a Mila and also Sudas Nesuim. So Digras Moshe says, Pashat, look, Mila is a higher level. The Sudas Mila. No, it doesn't sound that way. Yeah, others say, Rav Sternbach says, because when it comes to Sudas Nesuim, it has to be a Talmud Chochem, whatever, I don't know, it's a Talmud Chochem, it's a Paschal, whatever, but by Mila, what's the difference? Avram Avinu is Avram, Eliyahu is Eliyahu, the baby is the baby. It doesn't matter. So that's another teretz.
So what do we do when you want to invite somebody for a break?
So the minig, right? The minig is to
what to do?
Let them know.
How you let them know?
I'm making a bris. You can choose to come or not to come.
Oh, you don't tell them. Okay.
I'm not inviting you. I'm not telling you.
Just tell them I have a break.
I'm not asking you please come.
Okay.
I'm sending them a message. Is that letting them know? Is that everybody?
Oh, so third teretz that the Achronim today say is sending an invitation is not called inviting. In the wedding, Minig Yisrael, for maybe 200 years now, that they send out notes with the Azmona to the wedding. They say that the Azmona is more important. The more important is the address. Like when someone invites you for a chasna, you want to. The ikad is you want to. Why do you like the Azmona? Or text it to me, or email it to me. Well, you want to have in your phone. When you're in the car, you'll be able to put it into your GPS. You want to put it onto Google Waze for Chulu. So it's not really a Hazmona. Okay. There is a story, unbelievable story, with the Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek had a chassid who was a rich man, and he hired himself a wagon driver, a chauffeur, full time. So the Tzemach Tzedek said to him, "I'd like to meet your chauffeur." Okay. So the next time chassid comes to Lubavitch, he tells him the Tzemach Tzedek would like to see you. So he said, "I'm not a chassid, not interested." "Oh, you're not interested? You don't have a job." "Oh, I'm going. Okay, sure." Goes to Tzemach Tzedek. So Tzedek says, I'd like to eat with you, lunch. So Tzedek made a bracha, your guest. So Tzedek thanked him very much for coming. Have a nice day. Chassidim thought, so maybe someone that did something, a special mitzvah. What's the event? So they're chasing after him. They're pestering him. Who are you? He says, I'm not Eliyahu Navi. I'd love to be Eliyahu Navi, but I'm not. They said maybe the special mitzvah. He says, I'll tell you, I do a special mitzvah, and I'm very proud of it. He said, I used to. Now I'm full-time. I'm a balagola full-time for this guy, but I used to travel here, there, and everywhere. I worked for Uber, for Lyft, and I had different things on my car, and I used to end up in far places. And I noticed that there's a lot of times a problem that Jewish families need a moil, and the moil it's hard to get a moil. So I went to the local moil. I asked him to teach me the malacha. He taught it to me 1, 2, 3. I bought myself a knife, a little bag. I keep it in the wagon. Tell me about a moil, benich a moil. I could do the job. So for kids. So he says. He said he was once in a place, and he hears that there's a Jewish family. They need a moil. So he knocks on the door. Lady opens the door. It's day 8 taka. She couldn't find a moil. Gewaldig. So the problem is he needs someone to hold the baby. He need a sandik, and the mother is not shy to do it. So he goes out. He's looking, and he sees an old Yid with a white beard. He says, Rabbi Yid, come. I have a schus for you. You're going to be a sandik. Okay, no problem. He comes in, and holds the baby to the bris. Then the old man says to the woman, what is this, a bris without a meal? So this mitzvah. So she says, okay. She brings out herring. She brings out bread. He says, we need a zimun. So she says, well, what can I tell you? There's no one here. But she says, look, if you look in the corner, she said, the doctors were here. She said, that's my husband in the bed. He's dying. That's his goisis. So if you can count them, maybe it's a zimun. So the old man says to what's his name? His name is Reuven. Reuven, they just brought you some for a bris. Won't you stand up, be washed, eat with us, be part of the zimun? Guy stands up. He says, yeah, sure. Washes. The guy says, Sapella. The guy sat down at the table as if nothing. As if he wasn't sick. We had the meal, and afterwards we benched. And then I turned around, the old man disappeared. So then they heard that Tzemach Tzedek said that a man that had a Suda with Avraham Avinu, I'd like to have a Suda with him too. So that's the Gewalt of the Suda Sabris. Suda Sabris was sitting with very choshev people. So that's the uniqueness of a bris, not to miss the Suda's bris.
What does chut for sandak, to be a sandak?
So sandak. To be a rich man. Okay, Zok Alter B'Shulchan Aruch. Okay, the third shiloh was like this. Someone asked about feeding pets and Shabbos. So here is the thing. So, yeah.
When we talk about eating at a bris, you have to lechem. Or if you eat like your donuts, is that considered also?
Probably is, as long as you look at the Suda. I don't know. If you eat enough of this, you can make a berachas hamazon.
You have to eat a lot of it.
Yeah. Sometimes we end up eating a lot of it.
You might as well watch some bacon.
I don't know.
Doesn't count.
As long as you're in there, I would say. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say. It says Mishene Oichel B'Sudas Mila. It doesn't eat anything. It doesn't partake. Like if Gemara says any meisiv and more, it doesn't sit down with them. It doesn't mean he has to eat 3 bagels or 1 bagel. A meisiv and more, he sits down with them, eats something. Someone asked about feeding pets. So first of all, we once spoke about pets. That's more by a wedding. We say Masameach Chosan V'Kala. There's a special mitzvah that.
I've been to a person where barely anybody showed up. And never.
Right, it's like, right. It's supposed to be, first of all, it's supposed to be 10 people, and yeah. So someone asked about feeding pets. First of all, we spoke once about 2 years ago about pets. Lanius daiti, pets are not muktzah, even though animals, or yeah, because yois, the person, the fetish, this is not some a regular animal, it's a pet, so it's not shy, muktzah by a pet.
But the problem is, shit.
Uh-huh.
So having a dog on Shabbos, it's your pet?
I will put aside that. Yeah? Okay, so let's move aside this question of shedding, just the muktzah question. So now someone asked that if he has to feed like this, the snakes get a diet of mice, and the lizards get a diet of roaches. So like this, the mice, they don't have to be live. So the roaches have to be live because the lizards like them live. Crickets, roaches. So the thing is like this, that this is the shayla. Okay, so let me just read. Let's read together. About touching the mice, touching the roaches, and the other shayla was that in order to feed the lizard, he holds the roach on a little shtekela, and then the lizard chaps it. Okay. V'chein shor oifes chayes hagedolos bebayis etiro letroyach litan lahem mezonos. Umayim neshim mezonos na alach. Avlei noisem mayim v'le mezonos ledvoidim le'yoni shebech yoni aliyah v'ashlut nemotzim neshim mezonos na alach hashoyotzim v'eichel mesoda. That animals that are your obligation, you're allowed to feed them in Shabbos. But animals that are not your obligation, you're not allowed to feed them in Shabbos. Aval is a psayotzim raklal. Avlei noisem mezonos nifnei kelev. Even if it's not your dog, you're allowed to give food to a dog. Your dog, and the chiddush is apila kelev shel hefke she'ein megadol b'beisai. Sometimes people take a liking for a dog that's in the neighborhood. It's not really your dog. But sometimes people take a liking for a few cats. So right, so you have some people that they'll have their own cats. They'll have birds count. Why shouldn't birds count? Any animal.
Somebody has a bird feeder.
Oh, so that not. Oh, but a kelev is a yotzim raklal. Only a kelev. You have a few dogs in the neighborhood that you like them, and cats not.
Always dogs, but not cats. Dogs, but not cats.
Yeah, dogs. Why dogs? Shabbos Shidi, you have to give me 4 Shabbos, and I'll have to give on Shabbos because of that.
They didn't bark and we keep teaching.
No, a little differently. Shirakadosh Baruch Hu Chotsalov Almazanois of Mu'otim Umasha Chilosa B'Meiv Gimel Yomim. The Davish has Rachmanis on the dog. It's hard for him to get his food. So the Davish makes that this mezonah should stay in the stomach for 3 days. Okay. Okay.
The thing with dogs is once they've been domesticated, they don't remember how.
They don't remember how did right.
They're just sort of stuck.
Interesting.
I'm saying that their dogs are from the street. Their dogs from the street. Right. They're not just dogs in the house. They're dogs from the neighborhood.
But dogs are
living on the street.
domesticated animals.
No, but there's still
There's
dogs
places
living
like
on the
in
street.
Russia where the dogs run wild. Place in Eretz Yisrael, and then in America it's different. I think it's a matter of photography.
Right.
I don't know if it's so simple. You have other dogs that are like cats in certain countries.
Right.
By the way, you never think about the dogs that they got child.
In Afghanistan.
Right. It doesn't mention it. Yeah, I know. It doesn't mention it.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, when it comes to someone's pet, it's also about babies. You can feed a dog that you're watching.
Right. Right. Okay. So like this. The din is that the Mishnah says you're allowed to, and even if say the animal died on Shabbos, we say it's not muktzah because you never matzed b'yadayim. So even if the mouse had died on Shabbos, it'd be no problem to pick up the mouse and give it to the snake. Holshkein that these mice lachatchila, you bought the mice in order to feed them to the snakes, so they're totally not muktzah, 000 jaila. So you could feed the snakes. The problem is the roaches. There's two problems with the roaches. One is when you pick up the roach, you're doing seder. The roach could run away, and you picked up the roach. So now you picked up, you would
What about the
do.
mouse? That's
The
dead.
mouse is dead.
But what happens if it's alive?
That's not good. No, mice are all dead.
What happens if it's alive?
No, then you'd have a problem because you're catching it.
Oh, then you would have.
If you're catching it, you
But
can
if
say
you-
that.
but if you-
They're gonna
trap it.
If you put-
No, if it had a container, nowhere to go,
Right?
and you get them at one time.
We take the lid off, they can't go anywhere. Roaches are in a plastic container. They can't climb the walls.
Yeah.
So
How easy is it to get the roach into the into the-
it's relatively easy. You stick in, they get it because they have nowhere to go. They're not. They're
okay.
trapped.
So that could be that there's no tzeder there,
Okay.
but there's another shaila which is
But if there's, let's say, compost in there, they have where to hide it.
yeah.
Then
If it's one pick, you're picking it out.
Then
Then
if there's compost and they
Yeah.
can hide, then
yeah. The other question is that lachoida, when you're holding it in front of the lizard and the lizard eats it, so that's the hariga. You're killing a balchai. So the truth is, you're killing an animal. So the truth is, there's a discussion. There's a discussion about animals.
How do you kill them?
It's also the Iraisa, only animals that are mishava from Zochar ben Akeva. But the Rabban,
roaches, I believe, are.
Oh.
And they get live birth also. They don't. They
so
do have eggs, but the eggs are kept in the body, but they are shtickle.
so
They're fully killing live
so-
births
so-
in bodies, right?
no, the week while we check the animals, you're allowed to. So that's the M is the problem. That's the M is the problem. That's the only that's a tangible problem that you're killing a balchai. That's natilas neshama is lizard as pets. Apparently someone has it.
I used to have a lizard as a pet.
Yeah?
An iguana.
Yeah, we're good.
It's a great animal.
Yeah.
Very loud.
Fantastic.
Like that little geico guy.
No, that's a gecko.
Oh.
I'm talking about an iguana. They go up to 5, 6 feet with the tail.
So anyway, the lamaisa, the bottom line is, there's no shaila you could feed the snake. But definitely there's the problem. The lizard and the roach is the problem. Natilas neshama, especially.
I don't think the snake.
Do they eat? Do the snakes eat the mice that are already dead?
Primarily,
I
I
don't
keep them
think
on a diet of frozen fall mice.
They eat live also.
I don't want to give them live mice.
What?
I don't want to give them live.
Why not?
Because at the end of the day, they could defend themselves a little bit. The mice scratch, bite, and cause
But you have a
infection.
snake or?
I have snakes, lizards.
Have snake?
Yeah.
I do.
Are you married?
Yeah.
You
Are
have
you
a snake?
married?
Yeah.
And you feed him dead
Yeah,
animals.
do that. What?
When you feed him dead animals.
Frozen fall mice. Frozen fall mice. They gas the mouse, and then they freeze them, and they sell them frozen as a package of frozen.
Oh, so they're good.
And I take them out of the freezer. I stick them in a cup of warm water to defrost, and then we feed them to the snake.
It's amazing.
Now the lizard will not eat dead bugs because like most animals, they're afraid to eat dead animals, not knowing how it died, thinking if it's infected, then he'll get the infection. So they don't eat that. They usually don't. But with a snake and certain other animals, they're not as I guess intellectual and sensitive to these things. And I do shake it and make it look like as if it's a little bit alive, and I make it chase me a little bit with a hunt. But
So the snake thinks it's alive.
I'm not sure if it fully thinks it's alive. I mean, with constrictors, when they're fed frozen thawed, they constrict them as if they're still alive to kill. So they probably have this a little, but again, they're brilliant. They're animals that feel heat and whatever, and they know that this animal is definitely not alive. I can't imagine it thinks it's alive, but like, apparently it does to a certain degree. So it constricts it and it plays with it as if it's alive and killing it.
So like, iguanas are vegetarian, I believe.
Oh, yeah?
They eat different
Okay, we'll stop at this. This pasha is an unbelievable pasha. It's v'chukoisai. It's v'salachti b'toichechem. David says that I'm walking with you. It's an unbelievable thing. It's even more. It says v'shechanti b'toichem, and I rest with you. But here is v'salachti. David says I walk with the yid. So so people have pets to keep them company. So it's nice if you have a nice pet, but you should know that the emissaries v'salachti b'toichem. Wherever we go, that the Eibush is with us. David shall help that everyone here.
Amen. Okay, question, Rabbi.
Thank you for this. Well, no, not for the roaches. Not for the roaches. Yeah.
If I do something to hurt it, that's how I.
No, if the roaches were not coming from Zochanik.
Why can't the lizard go in that box?
Huh? Oh, could you put the lizard into the box of the roaches?
You want?
No, then you have to say that there's never. You're gonna have to put it back later. Yeah. Not very good, dude. Little gecko's gonna have to wait for months of job. It's Malka. If you eat them off Malka, it's a big. That's beside. Yeah. The Swiss is Caleb. It's not a problem.
Yeah, like once a month when it's in the movie. My friend had
Once a month? Snakes once a month?
My friend used to give it a live mouth. I'm not gonna get to see the show. They digest this all the way in their stomach. So they you see it's fighting all the way in. It's not like a human like that. It's great. It's a matter of what
Right.